The Aerospray is a fantastic weapon, and I'm tired of seeing it blamed for issues that are actually a lack of skill. The Aerospray may not have the longest range or do the highest damage, but the Aerospray is a way better weapon than you think. As a 5-star Aerospray user and someone who's been using the weapon through every game since the first, I have more experience with the weapon than most. The Aerospray may not do high damage in its individual shots, but the fire rate makes up for that entirely. The Aerospray is very useful for splatting enemies. However, most people have no understanding of how they should use it for this task because of its range and spread. The Aerospray isn't meant to be used for mid to long, as the Aerospray strives in close range combat. When using the Aerospray, getting close to your enemy is insanely important and essential to all combat. This isn't easy. In fact, the hardest part of fighting with the Aerospray is positioning. Positioning yourself close to the enemy leaves your enemy with many chances to splat you. However, there is a way to lower the chances of this happening. The way you should approach your enemy should consist of you constantly moving, changing your angle of attack on the enemy. This leaves them with a harder time of trying to hit you, and you getting close in on them and able to splat them easily. The Aerospray is able to put a lot of pressure on your opponent, and your special weapon is a great tool to deal with groups of enemies. Reef Slider, as a special, is very situational. However, when those situations come up, it's very good at dealing with them. Knowing when to use Reef Slider is very important. Groups of enemies are the ideal target for the special. You should try to use it at a time where it'll take them quite a while to turn and shoot you, as when you're using Reef Slider, you can be very vulnerable. To really get a feel for how to use Reef Slider, you should play around with it and learn when and when not to use the special. With experience, you'll recognize optimal opportunities to use Reef Slider. The Aerospray itself doesn't have the longest range. However, you have a tool in your kit that can help you with your ranged efficiency. The Fizzy Bomb is a sub-weapon that can be thrown for a quick and weak explosion, or charged up for extra and more powerful explosions. You can get up to 2 extra charges per bomb. To charge the bomb quickly, try to shake your controller or jump around multiple times. To use Fizzy Bomb effectively, you should throw it in an area that has limited mobility for an enemy to escape, or where a group of enemies is. Anywhere where your Aerospray cannot reach. Turf War is a mode where your main objective is to ink more area than the enemy team. The Aerospray is perfect in this mode. Your primary focus should be on turfing as much as possible, while avoiding fights. The insane fire rate and widespread of the weapon makes it very effective at spreading ink. In my experience, if an Aerospray player gets under 1,000 points turfed in a match, they did not do their job very well. If you must get into a fight, ensure you end it quickly, as it takes time away from you inking area. You should focus more on turfing instead of splatting enemies. Splat Zones is a mode where the objective is to turf over a specific area of a map and control it for a specific amount of time or more time than your opponent. When the zone is in control of the enemy team, your main goal should be to get your opponents away from the zone before trying to go and turf the zone over. Getting your opponents away from the zone can be done by scaring them out of it or just outright splatting them. The Aerospray in Splat Zone should be used very defensively and rarely in an overly aggressive manner when you're in control of the zone. Your focus should be on turfing the zone and keeping it in your control, and trying to let your teammates take care of the opponents. It's important to not overextend yourself, as your absence could lead to the loss of control over the zone. Clam Blitz is a mode where your main objective is to deliver clams into the enemy's basket. You do this by picking up 8 clams and forming a power clam, then throwing it at their basket to open it. You may then throw regular clams into their basket for additional points. The team with the most points, or the team who causes the other side to reach 0, wins. Clam Blitz is a very unique mode when it comes to using the Aerospray. The Aerospray is useful for 2 very different things in this mode, so it's very important to find a balance between the 2 to play usefully to your team. The Aerospray is great at combat, and carrying the objective is very simple using your weapon. This mode is all about timing when it comes to what role you should play. If your enemies are pushing towards your basket but aren't close, you should be attempting to open theirs. If the enemy team is sticking close to their basket, you should try to get close while staying hidden to find a better chance of opening their basket at a later point. If enemies are close to your basket, you should be trying to defend it and splat them. Tower Control is a mode where the main objective is to ride the tower toward the end goal. Whichever team gets the tower closest to their respective end goal, or makes it to their end goal first, wins. When playing Tower Control, it is essential to be very aggressive. No matter who is controlling the tower, your primary objective should be on attacking your opponents rather than riding the tower. You should try to leave the tower to your team as much as possible, as if you can splat your opponents, it will be much easier for them to control the tower. Attacking your enemy is your first priority as an Aerospray. Your ability to agitate and distract your enemy is your ability to defend your team. While your teammates may not always have the best skills when it comes to riding on the tower, as long as you do your duty and protect them, they'll be fine and you'll win the match. As you can see, in the background gameplay I am showing, I am being very aggressive and constantly going after the enemy. I do not stay on the tower for long, unless I am also splatting my opponents. Rainmaker is a mode where the primary objective is to carry the Rainmaker to your pedestals. Whichever team moves the Rainmaker the farthest in the direction of the pedestals, or reaches the final pedestal first, wins. When no team has the Rainmaker, try to damage its shield from range using your sub-weapon. Then, close in on it and pop it using your main weapon. If it seems like the opposing team is going to pop it, try to fall back and wait for it to break, unless you have your special weapon, in which case, use it, as Reef Slider does a lot of damage to the Rainmaker shield, and could turn the shield back in your team's favor. Once the shield is broken by either side, try to stop the enemy from grabbing it or moving it by going in front or around it and protecting using your Aerospray. If your teammates are taking a very long time to grab the Rainmaker, you should just take it yourself. Even though I don't recommend it, if your team will not advance it for you, you must do it yourself. If you grab it, just try to survive and move it as close as you can to the pedestal, as that is how you get points. When the enemy team has the Rainmaker, you should entirely focus on attacking the player who is holding the Rainmaker. You should always be aggressive towards the player who is carrying it before turning your focus to any other enemies. To go even further with this, it does not matter much if you get splatted, as long as you can splat the Rainmaker carrier. You have done your job well. When your team is in control of the Rainmaker, you should focus on protecting your carrier from threats that are focused on them, rather than going out of your way to splat enemies who aren't close to you or your Rainmaker carrier. You should be focusing on enemies who are a direct threat to your Rainmaker carrier. If you seem to be outranged by an enemy who is going for the carrier, then it is a good idea to get close to them and splat them. That is all I have for this video. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, please like it. If you have any comments that you want to comment, use the comment section below. If you for some reason want to see more of this, subscribe to the channel. And if you think any of this is actually good advice, you should try playing the Aerospray. And yeah, just play the Aerospray. I don't know. I may have made up some stuff because I don't actually know how I play with the Aerospray. However, I believe it's accurate to my playstyle in each mode. So, yeah, the Aerospray is the only thing I use. So, there's that. That's basically it for the video. I'll throw in another one of those mini montages, and so, yeah. See ya.